Good morning and welcome to Friday. Yeah, we made it. Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number 800-951-0592. As if you didn't know. Happy Friday. I was thrilled to death this morning when I woke up and there was rain falling. Well, what? I guess it was just ending, but we got some rain, which we love here in the Valley of the Sun. The big storm heading to Colorado this weekend. Everybody be safe up there. We have our event tonight. I talked to Jason. We're trying to be our own weather people. Right now, it's a go. We don't expect the snow to really arrive until Saturday and Sunday. If something changes, Jason will make an announcement during the open forum time slots, and he'll keep making. He'll jump into Alex Jones's show. He'll jump into his own show, and we'll get the word out. If not, but it looks like we're cleared to go. Remember the event 5 to 9 p.m. tonight at the radio station. Steve Stars and Rick Rodriguez. And I know a lot of you are fans of both of these guys, so make sure you get there. Subway's going to be providing the food. The one in Johnstown, I think there were just as 22 South Parish. The radio station's 2 South Parish. So we're at one end of the block. They're at the other end of the block. Make sure you get in there. It doesn't have to be today, but during the next week or two, and whenever, anytime you're in the subway in Johnstown, you tell them KHNC sent you, and they're really stepping up. They'll be providing the food for you all. I know the last event was tremendous. Hopefully this one will be the same, that everyone can get there. If there's any worry that you can't get in and out safety, we'll postpone. But everything looks pretty good right now, according to Jason. All the CBD products are going to be there. With the snow this weekend, maybe get some of that cocoa. I'm a big fan of the cocoa, but all the CBD products, for those of you thinking, we've had a really good week with CBD products. That helps us tremendously. Go to 1360khnc.com, hit the shopping cart button, and get your CBD today. I'm a believer now, and I'll be honest with you, I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. And when my kind stepped up and wanted to be a part of what we're doing in the radio station, they sent me some samples. I started taking it. Listen, it just helps with the normal, the aches, the pains, getting old. It helps. There you go. I like that. It helps with getting old. We got another product coming. So we continue to keep adding. And then I wanted to a big shout out. One of our customers here in Phoenix provided me with an ion energy infused knee brace, and he gave it to me earlier in the week. I started wearing it, and it's been tremendously helpful. My left knee, it's shot. But this thing, I wore it playing pickleball last night. Just fantastic. So I appreciate that. It worked. It worked for me. So it was so funny. 2 of the guys that I play pickleball, where'd you get that? I need one of those. So anyhow, hey, anything I can do to get out there to help you guys, I will. Next week, I know I got a lot of announcements today. The Eat Beef event out in Wellington. If you go to 1360 KHNC, go to the schedule section. You'll see all the details for the event on Monday. It'll be on the front page. Right now, we have like a CBD launch across the top. Ryan will have the beef event. You'll just click it and be able to it'll give you all the details, the address, the event. The address, just so you know, 7557 Weld County Road 100. And that's, I believe it's in Wellington, or right near Wellington anyway. The event starts at noon. Saturday, March the 20th. It ends when the cows come home. Bring your own tableware and a couple pounds of hamburger for your family. Security will be at the event. There will be hamburger there for you to purchase. I'm being told Corey Lewis is the guy from Meat America. He will provide some hamburger and has beef available for purchase. A lot of outstanding speakers are going to be there. Home-baked cinnamon rolls available from Megan Howard Professional Bakery. These things are huge, I'm told. Our own Chris Cheeseman. The cheese is going to be there. He's our disc jockey on Saturday night. So Chris is going to be there. We have a professional caterer, Ken Patilla. He's going to be doing all the grilling on mesquite wood. There's going to be a tug of war, country western dancing, a special appearance by Dolly the Wonder Dog, an arm wrestling competition. There's going to be a mask burning ceremony. So if you want to burn some masks, go bring those. Our own Bucky Dillon, our morning show guy. He's a professional drummer, as most of you know. He's going to perform. There's going to be a couple of singing acts and a performance of an international dance company as well. So this thing really going to be huge. Water's going to be provided, and there's porta potties on site. And again, we'll have all the details up there, 1360khnc.com. If you want to look it up today, hit the schedule button. You'll see it there. Started on Monday. We'll have a link right across the top of the front page. It looks like we're going to have an outstanding event there in Wellington. When we get back, the 10-year note is rising again. I'll tell you why. 800-951-0592. Before we get into it, I want to get to today's specials because I don't know how long they're going to be available. I got 2 different gold items, and I've only got 50 of each. That's it. There's not, as you know, there's no product out there. There really isn't. It seems like the more they want to drive the paper price down, the more demand there is. But mint state, these are going to be graded gold coins because they're so cost effective that it just makes sense to run them. You know, these are things competitors charge a fortune for. We have 50 mint state 62 $20 Liberties at $21.45, and then we've got 50 Mint State 63 Saints at $21.65. So you can mix match whatever it may be, and yeah. So there you go. That's what we've got today. And I'll make those announcements again later in the program. For those of you, I got some emails because there's from Arizona listeners. They don't know about what's this meat event. So the governor of Colorado, he is a Democrat, a liberal, on the Bill Gates agenda, and declared March 20th a no beef day in the state of Colorado. And so one of our ranchers up there in Wellington, he is having the beef event in a counter protest, if you will. I'm pretty sure the governor Polis will not be attending the event, but that's what it's all about. So if you wanted details on that, now you have it. We've got a split market right now. The Dow's up 140, the Nasdaq's down 200. Gold's down about $10. The 10-year note has hit a new, I'll say, couple of year high now, 163 in change. The big movers in that was the producer prices today. So remember, we had 2 different events that went out on all of that stuff. The one event was the 10-year note auction. We talked about that yesterday, right? Where the participation was a C-, D+, but that apparently was good enough. Kind of equivalent to the education our kids are getting right now with at-home learning. And then you had the Bureau of Labor Statistics with their inflation report. Right, those were the two big events for the week that were trying to tell the bond market, hey, calm down. Right? There's no inflation. Right? They looked everywhere. They couldn't find it. Well, today we got producer prices. So this is going to be your manufacturers. And boy, did they paint a much different picture. January, they had a record surge in producer prices. In February, they had another pretty significant increase, a 0.5% increase in producer prices. They're now saying that year-over-year producer prices is up 2.8%. Okay, so think about this. The Fed is telling us, hey, there's not even 2% inflation. The producers are now saying, hey, inflation's really kicking. And remember, it's not like everything stopped. It's not like March is getting better. I mean, gas keeps rising. Everything keeps getting more expensive. But they're already saying, hey, listen, prices are up about 3% already. And again, I told you 2% is just a fantasy number. And they've already said, hey, we would love it to be higher than that. And, of course, they do this, core stuff and blah, blah, blah. But even the core, where you strip out all the stuff, the energy prices and all that stuff, core was up 2.5%. Underneath it all, energy and transportation costs. Leading the move higher. 40% of February's increase in the index for final demand goods attributed to gasoline prices, diesel, beef, veal, basic organic chemicals, residential electric power, chickens, eggs, all moving out. Don't worry. It's fine. We don't need any of that stuff. Right? By the way, dried vegetables fell 16.7% because all the vegetables now coming are coming in from Mexico and Chile and all that other stuff. But apparently nobody's eating their vegetables. Bill Gates must be upset. 3.6% increase in the index for the transportation of passengers. I don't know if that's are airlines raising prices? They could be. Indexes for security brokerage dealing and investment advice. Machinery and equipment parts. Supplies, wholesaling, health, beauty, optical goods, retailing, and hardware. Building materials. I'm not done. Building materials, supplies, and supplies retailing also all moved higher. I mean, did we miss anything? This is what got the Treasury yields rising once again. And again, I don't know what it'll do to housing. Refinancing is way off, which has been a big part of the growth. Housing prices, too early to tell. Let's hope not. I don't know where it ends. The fear is the Fed once again has it all wrong. I mean, think about the financial and housing crisis. There really wasn't that long ago. Right? And Ben Bernanke in August of 2007. Now, here in Phoenix, that bubble popped a year and a half before that. Right? The housing market in Phoenix was dead in 2006. Called it froth in housing. Remember froth? It's just a little froth. It's just a little froth. It was a subprime problem. Remember that one? Interest rates, August of 2007, 5.25%. That was the Fed's funds rate, 5.25%. They've pretty much been zero ever since, right? I mean, outside of what, an 18-month period, they were zero ever since. And they were talking about raising rates again. And then, of course, everything. Wall Street wasn't going to open. Hammer and Hank Paulson, or was it the snow job? I can't remember who was the Treasury Secretary at the time. A 2-page bailout for the banks, right? It was 720. Think about this. I think it was $725 billion. Right? Or Wall Street wasn't going to open on Monday. We've now given out, are going to give out $6 trillion in just the last year. And that's not all of it. That's just a part of it. Right? That's just all the government stuff. Right? That's not including a bunch of stuff that's, the games with the Treasury and the central bank and all the wheeling and dealings behind the scenes. That's just stimulus passed by Congress. This is how big the problems are. And they just keep manifesting themselves. And they want us to believe, hey, we can just keep doing it. And it sounds great. I want to believe that. Right? Don't we all want to say, yeah, I mean, we just keep going. But we know. If that was true, Rome would have never fallen. Think about all the superpowers of the world. And not that there's been that many. We haven't been around that long. But in any event, they all fell for the same reason. Their economies collapsed because of debt, period. Right? We used to tell the story about, like, the Romans. They had the coins, and they weren't standardized. They didn't, you think about our coins today. They got the reeds around the end. Now, of course, our coins got no real metal in it. It's the cheapest metals they can find. But they had the reeds around it, so to prevent you from doing what the Romans did. In order to get more gold, because the gold was the money then, they needed more money. The government of Rome needed more money. They started clipping the coins. And all of a sudden, out on the street, a baker selling a loaf of bread for 2 denarius. And the guy pays him with 2 denarius, and he looks and he notices 1 denarius is smaller than the other. Well, now he wants 3 denarius, right? Same things happening here. They don't want, all as they want to tell us, they only want to tell us all the good things. Here's the good part. Hey, if you're unemployed, 20 million people. How did we get back to 20 million? I mean, we were at 18 million a week ago. Now it's back to 20. I don't even know how that happened. 20 million people are on unemployment. And we're going to give them extra money. They're going to give $1,400 to a certain percentage of the population. California alone is going to get almost $300 billion, which means New York's probably going to get, $250 billion, and Michigan and New Jersey. Right? I kind of told you, listen, most of that money's not for us. But if you keep printing it, which we can, we have a printing press, right? So we can keep printing, sure. And we can keep pretending to buy the notes. And, of course, we go over the data at the auctions, right? Less and less people coming. Less and less people interested in yields that don't pay anything. You have the producers telling us inflation is here. Right? Because remember, they've been telling us, when did they create the 2% inflation? They made that up in, I think it was 05 or 06. They made that up. You know they made that up, right? There was no such thing as 2% inflation. That's a relatively new thing by the central bank. They finally admitted, yeah, we're devaluing the currency, but just a little bit. Well, the producer price index today says that inflation is running almost 50%, 40% hotter than what you tell us it should be. And the sad part is that number's going to keep rising. Because remember, now you're going to go against like March, April, May, when coronavirus first came and the lockdowns happened and all that stuff. I mean, what are we going to see? 4, 5, 6%? It's a whole lot more than 2. But they don't want you to know that part. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break.
No, sir.
Welcome back, 800-951-0592. Don't forget, we got so many great things happening. Don't forget our blog site, the 1360 blog site. We're going to have a bunch of articles, a couple of different articles on the cancel culture, and they've been doing just a lot of great articles up there. We add pretty consistently now. We've got a good group, like I said, a bunch of young writers. We encourage anybody in our listening audience, if you've got some things you've put together, you've written an article or you've written some stuff down and you want to share your knowledge with everybody else, email us your articles to contact@1360khnc.com. We're not looking for articles someone else has already written, that are already out in the world today. But if you've got something, maybe that's something that excites you and you're into, we'll share it with the rest of the world. But we got a great group of young conservative journalists, which is, boy, you talk about a hard breed to find. Big shout out to my buddy Ryan, who has helped put all of this together, finding these conservative writers out there and giving them a platform, to get their views across. And make sure, give them feedback, give them a pat on the back, but go out to our blog site at 1360. Got a bunch of articles coming on the cancel culture out there as well. So we're talking about yields today. Now, the 10-year note doesn't, we thought Jay Powell was going to be super dovish, and he was. But even Jay Powell a couple of weeks ago had, okay, we're going to get some inflation. He didn't say how much. Well, how much inflation? Some. And then he said, but don't worry, it's only going to be temporary. And he could be right about that. We're going to have inflation until the crash. How's that? I think it's much worse than what they're trying to pretend. Right now, Wall Street, they want to whistle past the graveyard. Right? They want to pretend it's not happening, that it's going to be okay, right? And again, optimistic. That's great. I love it. Let's be optimistic. But let's not be idiots. I mean, we can't print all of this money and have there's not going to be, there's no bad effects. Right? That's nonsense. Of course there is. And that's not to be negative. This is just being real about what's going to happen. Listen, we've seen it over and over and over again. Bubble, burst, bubble, burst, bubble, burst, bubble, burst. This is another one. But it's interesting. Now even our banks are turning into sellers of treasuries. And I knew this was going to happen. Remember how the bond market works. Yields go up. Okay, yields rise. All the bonds you bought at a lower yield are now worth less. You're losing money. Okay, that's okay because banks will hedge. Right, and treasuries is a hedge, and it's a way for them to keep a lot of money out of their own system because they don't even trust themselves. See, if you own treasuries, the government's going to pay you. If your money's in the bank goes under, who knows? They say they're going to pay you. But the FDIC, and I've said it a million times, what do they got? I don't know what they got, 30 billion? Let's go crazy. Maybe they got 40 billion now. Just one bank. Pick one. JP Morgan, Citi, B of A, Wells. Who else? A U.S. Bank, PNC, blah, blah, blah. They all got over $1 trillion of deposits. $1 trillion. Okay. You're talking about maximum. The FDIC, when you factor in, just take the 10 largest banks, which is 90-something% of all the deposits. And the FDIC doesn't even have enough money for 3% of one of them. So you tell me, are you going to get your money? I don't know. My guess is for a lot of people, they'll give you some of it, and then they'll do some trick with the rest of it. You don't. And I think they've got it set up now where they can do this evaluation and determine, well, how much do you really need, right? I know we say 250, right? That's the guarantee. But, we're looking here. Yeah, we'll put 50,000 available for you for right now. And the other, it's not, you still got the rest of it, but you just can't use it right now. Stuff like that. Where if you got it in treasuries, the government, they like to say, oh, we've never defaulted. Well, they've defaulted a couple of times, but that was just because they didn't want to pay in gold. First, they did it to us in 33. Then they did it to foreign governments in 71. But the government's got a printing press. So in theory, you'll get the money. Just doesn't buy anything. Sorry about that. I thought I had my ringer off. Just doesn't buy anything. And now our banks are starting to sell treasuries. Why would they do this? Now, some of them, in full disclosure, the Federal Reserve changed the rules during COVID and allowed banks to hold less reserves. Right, so remember too big to fail, right? Remember when Wall Street wasn't going to open, they created all these rules and they were going to protect us. And, of course, I told everybody it's right in the title, too big to fail makes them smaller and fixes the problem. Oh, no. They made them bigger, not smaller. So they didn't have to have as much reserves. And, of course, now what's happened? They literally don't have enough cash every day, and every day they borrow money from the Fed. They trade. Well, they're starting to sell treasuries. Some of them are selling it because on March 31st, that rule's supposed to end. We'll see. I'm not convinced. I wouldn't be shocked if at next week's Federal Reserve meeting, Jay Powell says they're going to extend that. But I think I know the real reason why. We'll talk about that next. 800-951-0592. Gold's now down 5 as it continues to power back here. 17.19. Silver still down about 35 cents at 25.80. We got a mixed market. The Dow still higher. The Nasdaq's down. The Nasdaq and the S&P do not like rising rates. the special today. We still have some available. Mint State 62 $20 Liberties at 21.45. So these are encapsulated. They're graded by PCGS and NGC. And we have the Mint State 63 Saint at 21.65. And remember the grading service, how the grades go in gold coins, 60 to 70, 70 being perfect. So these are Mint State 62s on the Liberties, Mint State 63s on the Saints. So you're paying for a little bit of the condition, rarity, if you will, but it's small. When you think about a regular 20, our circulated, lower graded 20s are at 20.75. So you're not even paying $100, and you're going up eight and nine grades in gold. So I think that's good value. Plus the fact the cheaper gold, I really don't have any. So that's kind of the problem. Yeah, it's 20.75, but I really don't have a lot of quantity. So if you're looking at it, and here's the good part. Some people, and I understand it, they're all, what if I get ripped off? Because, you've seen it. You've seen the internet, right? Fake gold coins and this and that. It really doesn't happen in the coin market, at least the government market, very often, because that's a federal crime. You fake a gold bar, that's a civil crime. You fake a government hallmark coin, that's a federal crime. That's Leavenworth. So it doesn't happen very often, but it's kind of like, hey, you want proof and authenticity, PCGS and NGC, they are the two biggest grading services in the world. And they grade everything, not just gold. They grade sports memorabilia, baseball cards, Pokemon cards, right? All that. I mean, they do it all. So they're the best of the best. So we've got your choice. You can mix and match however you'd like to do it. And I just think it's really, really good value when it's trading this close to the ungraded. 800-951-0592. So why are banks selling treasuries? Matter of fact, according to who is it that? Oh, I'm sorry. The primary dealers holding data. Okay. Remember the problem with that 10-year auction the other day. Primary dealers had to buy like 26% of it. Showed that holdings declined by about $65 billion in the data ending March the 3rd. Right, that's when we saw the big spike. They're dumping, and they're yes, some may be dumping ahead of March 31st, but I think that's going to get extended. We'll see. But here's the problem: rates are up about 200% from a year ago. What is the 10-year note a year ago? Right? Remember? 0.5%. Now it's 1.6%. The dollar isn't rallying. The dollar's at 91 and change. Guess where the dollar was a year ago? 91 and change. And actually, it was 92 and change. Almost 93. And that's not how it's supposed to work. See, if you're losing money on the bond yield rising, that's okay because you trade it in a pair with currency. You hedge once against the other. So, okay, the yields rose, but that's okay because I also got to play on the dollar. And the dollar goes higher when yields go higher. So I'm not really losing. It's not happening. Why? The laws of economics stop working? right? I mean, what about all the tools in the toolkit? What about all the great things that you've done to save us? Well, this is where reality comes in all of this. This is where all the realities come in. The rest of the world knows. And the dollar's in trouble. There was an article out of Bloomberg today. J.P. Morgan has now said that people are starting to go that used to turn to U.S. treasuries and are buying more and more Chinese treasuries because they've fared much better. Their debt markets are working properly, according to J.P. Morgan. Chinese yields rise. The Chinese currency gets stronger. Chinese yields fall. The currency falls with it. Unlike what's happening here in the U.S. And now, listen, I don't want to blow it out of proportion. But this is how it starts. You know, I always say, how did you go bankrupt? Well, it was gradual at first. But this is another sign. I've never in the, what is this now, 18, 19 years I've been on the radio, I've never, ever, ever said people are starting to look at Chinese treasuries as a better alternative than U.S. treasuries. Today's the first time. You can thank J.P. Morgan and Bloomberg. 800-951-0592. Final look here. Gold's now down 3. So all the way back here, 17.21. Silver is still on the downside here, down about 35 cents, 25.80. As I told you, the Dow's up, the Nasdaq's down. Just seeing some headlines. They're saying a 2-year, 10-year note, 20% off on Wall Street if that occurs. Let's hope it doesn't. I got a bad feeling, though, that it might. Our weatherman Jason in Colorado, the snow is not going to start till Saturday, so the event is on. So we got this event tonight. Tonight's the last night if you're in Colorado that you're going to be out of the house because I think Saturday and Sunday, we're not talking about inches. We're talking about feet of snow coming down. So get out to the radio station tonight. Have a great time. Subway's going to provide all the food. Steve Stars and Rick Rodriguez, two of your favorite open forum hosts, are going to be speaking there tonight. We've got our CBD products and gold and silver and all that stuff. You know, it's just going to be a lot of fun. I think Bucky Dillon's going to be there as well. Maybe a few others, Brian, Jason, and the whole gang up there. And make sure you get into Subway, Cathay Athens, Dominic's Pizza, because Dominic's Pizza is going to do the next one. Tell them 1360 sent you. On the gold side of things, U.S. $20 Liberties in St. Gaudens. Mint State 62 $20 Liberties, 21.45. Mint State 63, so a grade higher in the Saints, 21.65 at 800-951-0592. Take your orders while supplies last. And again, we're looking at this thing. I disagree. We spent way too much. We're going to overheat. You know, as these states reopen and all this stuff and the vaccines and this and that, you know, they're talking about $100 oil again and all of these things, and it's going to create a huge problem. Number one, we've got rising yields without a rising dollar. That's a problem. That's why banks are selling right now. They're losing money because they trade in pairs, and the pair isn't working. Now they're saying, guess what pair really is? The Chinese pair is working. And I think we're going to be in a situation, and remember what it does to the debt. I didn't even talk about that. 10-year notes up a whole stinking point. That's like $300 more billion of debt for the year. Just like that, poof. Now they're talking 2%. Crazy 2%. It's not now that you're buying it for. You're buying it ahead of. It's okay, gold's been soft. Oh, the yields are rising. Dollar's got to be going up, sell gold. But that's not really what's happening. And again, when it goes the other way, it goes quickly. That's why I think all the big money's been pouring into this market, buying all the gold and silver they can, hand over fist, because they know. But don't be shocked. In the next year or two, prices are going to be double where they are today. They just are. Inflation's here. The debt's out of control. China's looking better. Patriot Radio News Hour. Get to that event tonight in Colorado.